Good afternoon and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. This afternoon, there is news coming out about a player that signed an extension to a new 4-year deal at Celtic, but it's not anyone new, and it's one of the youth players, which is good, and we shouldn't knock it because young Francis Turley had an absolutely fantastic time in the USA, and he was definitely one for the future. But the Northern Ireland Youth International signs a new long-term deal with Celtic, a new 4-year contract, which goes against the grain, which does go against the grain on what's happened recently with a lot of the youth players at Celtic. And one that we could mention has been mentioned many times, Daniel Kelly. If you ask me, Daniel Kelly could be this young boy's captain in years to come, but Daniel Kelly still hasn't signed that new deal when he's playing with the B team. It'll be interesting to see what happens to young Francis this season, whether he stays with the B team or if he's put out on loan. Because if he's good enough and he's given a 4-year deal, get him out on loan just now, get him some first team football, and then get him back playing for Celtic. He is in the under 19 European champions this summer with Northern Ireland. He was playing with that, which was won by Spain. And I tell you one thing, if Celtic are looking for a young goalkeeper, that young Spanish lad's not too bad. And I know the town that he comes from in Spain, and I've got to say, they are raving about him, absolutely raving about him. Anyway, the young guy from Belfast who joined the Scottish champions in 2022, initially on a 3-year deal playing at under 18 level, winning the Youth Cup and featuring it for Celtic's B team, has now signed a new 4-year deal contract. The Celtic manager was pleased with him when he was in the USA. He says there were some pleasing moments in the game, none more in the second half with young Francis Tully coming to the game. I've only seen him in the last few days, but you can see he's a footballer and he's done some wonderful things. It's all about his natural instinct to get into the box. I was really pleased for him. And that has got Brendan saying, look, we need this guy on a longer contract to make sure that he stays at Celtic, to say the least. You've got to laugh. Where is Paulo Bernardo? Celtic, about an hour ago, put out another tweet. Another one for Flag Day. Rather than this morning, they put out a tweet saying, it's 3 days away. Flag Day is 3 days away. And the response was, sign players, sign players, and sign players. This afternoon, they put out another one. It's Flag Day at Paradise this Sunday, the 4th of August. Celtic kick off their Premiership title defence. Don't miss the official matchday programme, which is packed with 60 pages of exclusive content. Let's dive into the comments for it. Extracting the urine now here. I see. Please sign players. Next up, Unipa says, for fuck's sake, announce someone Celtic admin. I appreciate the wind up with all the posts, but it's not funny anymore. Announce players. Please. And then somebody puts a guy, a stick drawn, and somebody with a stick trying to poke Celtic saying, do something. And then there's a few sack the boards with Lowell, Peter Lowell, with, I'm going to take a screenshot of that. That's a cracker. Peter Lowell running away with the bars bottles. Yeah, it is bars bottles. Remember, I used to get money. Do you still get money for bars bottles? What was the other company that used to do the rounds back in the days, delivering ginger? Get your bottles of ginger, right? Pineapple juice. That was a cracking one. Fizzy pineapple juice. Anyway, he says, sack the board. Does anyone have an email address for the board? I might want to buy it. And they've been scrambling around. Ross Dermot's company is trying to find a way of reaching him after he deleted his Instagram. We haven't had a quality left back for 3 years, says this poster. It says, we've got no second striker. We've had no quality signings. The board are in severe coma. They don't care about the team. Cannot wait for the season to start. Are you actually becoming an embarrassment? Just stop. Over 100 million in the bank. And you're taking us for fools. Just wait till Sunday and see the reaction from fans. It's going to be interesting when one of the board members in Lowell walks onto that pitch to unfurl the flag. Obviously, they won't say anything on the pitch, but it'll be interesting to see if Nicholson, because usually it's the board CEO and those types will say something along the lines of, yeah, we've done great again, and backslap and all that nonsense. 60 pages of how to make an ass of the transfer windows, says the next one. Back Rodgers or lose him is a poster that the Green Brigade put up many, many years ago. I'll just take a quick screenshot of that. Yeah, it is a poster that the Green Brigade put up. Back him or lose him. And it seems to be that history seems to be repeating itself. Next one up is sack the board. And goalkeeper apart, it's the same team that finished last season. A real slap in the face for supporters, says Mr. White. You really treat the supporters like fools. Absolutely sick of it. The manager and the players deserve so much more. You know you're having nothing but contempt for the fans. You just don't care. Absolutely no regard for the fans at all. The feeling is mutual. I have nothing but contempt for those who run the club. Looking forward to it. Shame that the super duper computer never predicted Kelly playing in Europe on the Thursday. And then pairing us with Flag Day. Yeah, so we know you've got to play Flag Day on the Sunday, which is ridiculous in its own right, but never mind. Seriously, you think people are going to keep buying stuff like this with no new players? Says another commenter on Twitter. Celtic admin, do you read the replies? Are you Peter Lawwell just trolling us? That is an absolute crap. Maybe they'd better say F all. I'm sure the Celtic supporters are well aware of when the season kicks off. Shut up, Celtic, and sign someone, says Stephen. The board will hear how we feel on Sunday. There seems to be a lot of anguish building with the Celtic support, and rightly so. Rightly so. Before the season ended last season, we were asked, before the Scottish Cup final, we were asked as fans to spend our money again on the new season. Yes, it gets earlier and earlier every year that you want our money for season tickets. And the majority of people pay them cash up front. Celtic have had the season ticket money in the bank for over a month. Probably 2 months now, since they first asked for it back in May. But give them June. So we'll say middle of June, everyone had paid up. It's interesting that we still haven't signed an outfield player. Hopefully Bernardo's medical will be finished for the start of the season, considering his medical was on Tuesday night and we're now on Thursday. I take it the medical was with the NHS and there's a waiting list of 5 months. We might see him at Christmas. And that's no disrespect to the NHS whatsoever. I think the NHS do a fantastic job. And my daughter actually works in the NHS also, and she does a fantastic job as a mental health nurse. Anyway, any chance it might contain a few outfield players? Is that too much to ask? No sign-ins, but give us your money and give us more money and more money, says a random commenter. Sign players, you're absolutely taking the utter psh. Announce St. Paulo. The natives are restless. If you have no shame, you're always looking to take money from the fans while neglecting to pay us back by investing in the team. Now, that tweet did put out a thing saying, yeah, come to the game this weekend and buy the programme. Send more money. Don't miss the official match day programme, packed with 60 pages of inclusive content, exclusive even. Oh, dear God, Celtic, what are you doing? I mean, the big news in the afternoon is obviously getting young Francis Turley on a 4-year contract, which is it's not to be laughed at. And he's doing fantastically well, the young boy, and we hope he goes on to be a fantastic player for Celtic. Now, Chris Sutton has been talking about the fact when in America, Brendan Rodgers, the manager, name-checked when asked about transfers. He name-checked Michael Nicholson and Chief Finance Officer Chris Mackay. As for the state of play by journalists in America about what was going on in the transfer window, he said, I don't know. You need to ask Nicholson and Chris Mackay, who's the finance officer. You need to ask them. That's Brendan Rodgers telling you exactly what's going on at Celtic. I did say in one of the lives that I think there's a power struggle going on behind the closed doors at Celtic. Got to remember, Michael Nicholson is basically worked under Peter Lawwell for 15 years. He's Peter's right-hand man. and he's now in charge of the club, running the club now the exact same way that Peter ran the club. Chris Mackay doesn't fall far from that also. When you have only one striker on the books right now, Kyogo, Rogers says he wants two more in before the end of August. Really, we should have had two more in before pre-season. Nico Kuhn has been an encouragement, but he was injured in America. One player that we haven't spoken about that done fantastically well at Copa America has been Alistair Johnston. And I think we've all missed Alistair Johnston, because it's always good to get Alistair Johnston on speaking to the media, because we all call him Talk a Lot Johnston, and he can talk. And it's always good when, and we've missed Alistair Johnston. So I hope Alistair Johnston is playing this weekend, and hopefully Celtic will rule him out and get him talking to the media, and I'll give us something to talk about at least over the next day or so. Alistair Johnston was named team of the tournament. He was named in team of the tournament, and I've got to say, that's a fantastic achievement, an absolutely fantastic achievement for Alistair Johnston to be named in team of the tournament. And he took to Instagram to say that he was very, very proud, very, very proud, very, very, very proud, very proud, very proud of my players. It's just unbelievable that even to this moment that Celtic, I mean, I'm recording this and it's 4:10 in the afternoon. Hopefully Celtic will make some kind of announcement later this afternoon. It's probably going to be around about 5 o'clock. Then again, Celtic do like a Friday statement. But what else are they doing with Paulo Bernardo? Surely his medical. I mean, Brendan Rodgers said more than 24 hours ago now that he expected the deal to be concluded in the next few hours. It hasn't been. We're still waiting. And as you could tell by people on social media, it's going to be interesting this flag day. And the board have brought it on themselves. The board have brought this on themselves, and they deserve anything that's directed at them at flag day. And I'm honest about that. I think that the board have neglected their duties this summer, and it won't be forgotten by the fans. I think you can pull the wool over some of the fans some of the times, but you can't pull the wool over the fans all the time. And it's getting more and more apparent that this board tried to pull the wool over the fans every summer. Last summer, they brought in 9 players that cost 19 million, and the players that they brought in were absolutely no use for Brendan Rodgers whatsoever. Ange Postecoglou signed off those players. He basically made sure that he knew the players that were coming into the club. Ange Postecoglou also said on the steps of Hampden Park, do not get too attached to your stars. Luckily for Celtic, we haven't sold anyone since then, really, apart from Jota, and Aaron Moy left the club, which then allowed Matt O'Reilly to be a star last season. If we lose Matt O'Reilly before we buy any players, it tells you exactly what the club thinks of us and what they want to do. It's not a good position to be in, and we shouldn't be in this position. We never seem to build from a power of strength. We seem to get just that little bit front, and then we pull the brakes on to just do enough, to just get over the line, to make sure that we win the league, and then that's it. On Sunday, if you're going to the games, and let's face it, the only player that's going to come in between now and Sunday will be Paulo Bernardo when that finally gets announced. Until then, if you are at the game on Sunday, give them hell.